3.4 million years ago, the world was raw, dangerous, and unfinished. Africa's landscapes were a shifting mosaic of open savannas, wooded riverbanks, wetlands, and seasonal lakes that expanded and vanished with the rains. Survival here was not about dominance or intelligence alone, but about reading the land, sensing danger, and making split-second decisions that meant life or death. This was the age of Homo habilis, one of the earliest members of the human lineage, living at the fragile boundary between prey and predator. Homo habilis was small-bodied, standing little more than 4 feet tall, with long arms, relatively short legs, and a brain larger than earlier Australopithecines, but still far from modern human size. What set them apart was not strength or speed, but adaptability. They crafted simple stone tools, sharp-edged flakes used to cut meat, crack bones, and process plants. These tools were not weapons of conquest, they were survival tools, allowing Homo habilis to exploit opportunities left behind by stronger animals. Yet even with tools in hand, life near water was a gamble. Water sources were lifelines in this ancient world. Rivers and lakes provided drinking water, edible plants, fish, and scavenging opportunities from animals drawn to the same shores. But these places were also death traps. Crocodiles lurked beneath murky surfaces, hippos defended territories with lethal aggression, and beneath the rippling water swam giants that modern humans rarely imagine as predators. Among them were the ancestors of giant catfish, enormous freshwater fish that ruled African rivers and lakes. Unlike the small catfish known today, these ancient species could reach terrifying sizes, with long, muscular bodies, wide skulls, and powerful suction-feeding mouths. Their whisker-like barbels detected vibrations and movement, allowing them to hunt in low visibility. They were ambush predators, patient and explosive, capable of pulling large animals into the depths with sudden force. For Homo habilis, approaching water was an act of courage mixed with necessity. Individuals came cautiously, often in small groups, scanning the environment for threats. Stone tools hung at their sides, not as protection against the river itself, but for cutting plant fibers or scavenged meat. The shoreline seemed calm, reeds swaying gently, the surface broken only by insects and drifting leaves. But beneath that calm, ancient catfish waited. A single misstep could be fatal. As a Homo habilis individual bent down to scoop water or rinse gathered plants, vibrations traveled through the shallows. To a giant catfish, this was a signal. In an instant, the predator surged forward, mouth opening wide to create a vacuum powerful enough to pull prey off balance. There was no warning roar, no visible splash at first, only sudden chaos. The struggle would be brief and brutal. Homo habilis lacked the strength to resist a force evolved to overpower large animals. Waterlogged ground made escape difficult, and panic only hastened exhaustion. Group members might scream or throw stones, but once dragged beyond the shallows, there was little they could do. The river claimed another life, silently reinforcing the rules of this ancient world. These encounters were not common, but they were unforgettable. Survival was shaped as much by memory as by instinct. Those who witnessed such attacks learned caution. Over generations, Homo habilis adapted behaviorally, approaching water in groups, favoring shallower edges, choosing times when visibility was higher, and possibly using sticks or stones to probe before stepping forward. Intelligence was becoming a survival trait. The presence of giant catfish shaped the ecosystem just as lions and leopards shaped the land. They controlled populations of animals that ventured too close to the water, maintaining balance through fear. For early humans, these encounters reinforced a hard truth. Danger did not only come from teeth on land, but from unseen forces below. Yet Homo habilis endured. Losses were painful, but adaptation followed. Tools became more refined, social bonds stronger, communication more deliberate. The fear of water predators may have influenced early human psychology, planting the roots of instinctive caution around deep, murky water that still lingers today. This was not superstition, it was survival memory encoded through countless generations. In this deadly balance between Homo habilis and giant catfish ancestors, there was no hero and no villain. Both were products of evolution, perfectly adapted to their roles. The river did not choose sides. It simply rewarded awareness and punished mistakes. Every encounter was a reminder that intelligence alone did not guarantee safety. Only respect for nature did. Life 3.4 million years ago was not a story of human dominance, but of human vulnerability. Homo habilis survived not because it was the strongest, but because it learned faster than most. Each lost life became a lesson etched into collective behavior, shaping the path that would eventually lead to modern humans. The deadliest encounters were not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes they were silent disappearances, a ripple in the water, a missing companion, and the unspoken understanding that the world was watching, waiting. In facing predators like the giant catfish, Homo habilis learned the first rules of survival in a world that offered no mercy, only balance.